All right, Whiskey Freaks, quick hitter here. This one's worth stopping and listening to, guys. Elijah Craig just announced something brand new. And honestly, it's something a lot of folks have been quietly or maybe not so quietly hoping they do for a very long time. They're dropping their very first 15-year single barrel bourbon. It's dropping nationwide and it's starting right about now. And here's the big number, 108 proof. That means this new pour lands right in between what people know from the regular single barrel offerings and what a lot of us have complained about and even gnashed our teeth about for years with Elijah Craig 18-year-old single barrel. You know, the thing where an 18-year-old bourbon at 90 proof always felt a little restrained, maybe a little too polite. Like it wanted to speak up and shout from the mountaintops, but somebody clapped their hand over its mouth and told it to shut up. This new 15-year is supposed to come loaded with dark fruit, figs and roses on the nose, then roasted nuts, toasted oak, caramelized sugar, and a finish they say leans creme brulee, ginger, and cloves. And that sounds pretty amazing to me. And more good news, the price comes in at $149.99, which really hits that sweet spot of $10 per year we've all, for better or worse, we've kind of come to expect for good bourbon. And let's be honest, the most interesting part here, at least to me, it may not even be the tasting notes. It's that 108 proof number. Look, for years, one of the most common things you hear from bourbon drinkers, including me, is this. You've heard it here on the podcast. Why is, because I've reviewed the 18-year and I've reviewed it against the Knob Creek 18. But my question and others has been, why is 18-year-old Elijah Craig only 90 proof? Why take all that age, all that oak, all that concentration, all that effort, all the years, why give it almost all the love and then hold back right when it counts the most? So now Heaven Hill's basically saying, all right, guys, here's Elijah Craig with a little more muscle behind it. Now, it's not hazmat, it's not barrel proof, but it might just have enough proof to maybe finally let older Elijah Craig show it's got a little bit of attitude. And maybe, just maybe, this tells us something bigger. Maybe they know, or maybe they think, bourbon drinkers still want older whiskey, but they also know a lot of folks these days look at a low-proof bottle and immediately wonder. It feels like they're holding something back. Now, I think maybe this 15-year-old becomes the middle ground. You know, old enough to feel special, strong enough to feel intentional. And honestly, in my opinion, that's what you're going to get here. This feels long overdue. Because if you've ever had that 18-year and thought, man, I wish this thing had just a little more horsepower under the hood. Well, I think this might be the bottle that finally solved that problem. Now, the real question, and I ask as a humble whiskey freak who does this little podcast, does this become the new sweet spot in the Elijah Craig lineup, or does it just make people ask even louder, why the hell Elijah Craig 18 still sits at 90 proof? Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss another hot whiskey news drop. And as always, thank you for listening to the Blind Tasting Podcast.